What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Card Quest. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If you want to buy cards right now to flip in the playoffs, when we know there's a consolidated focus, a consolidated focus on these teams, these guys, all the eyeballs are going to be on them. If they perform well, then their rookie card values are going to go up. You're going to be able to flip these cards for profit. We're seeing a lot of cards go undervalued right now in eBay auctions. I'm hearing it from Scaladesi before the show, and we're going to talk about it tonight. And one of the best ways to find these players that are going to perform well over the entire course of the playoffs is playoff best ball, guys. So we're going to be talking about Underdog's newest tournament format they just released, and that's playoff best ball. I'm going to share with you guys what it's all about. But I got Scaladesi back on the show with me because we're also talking about pick'ems. He's also the most popular guy at his local post office because the amount of eBay packages coming in and out of there. This man is quickly becoming a legend on the football card quest, and he's got 15 plus years in fantasy football experience, several championships under his belt, and we missed the pick'ems, the 5 parlay pick'ems on Thanksgiving by one pick, and it was the stinking David Montgomery touchdown. Steve, David Montgomery touchdown, man.
Yeah, man, that's very unfortunate. They had multiple opportunities for you. Just a shame he didn't punch one in.
It was a shame because he hit the over on the yardage. You had Andy Dalton hit the over on the yardage. You had Zeke get the touchdown. Man, it was a great day of football. What's up, Joel Strugelmeyer? What's up, man? I love this comment right here. Appreciate you, Joel. Good stuff. What's up, Anthony Ruggiero? What's up? This is actually my brother-in-law here from Tampa. What's good? Shout out to him. Raven Invest, man. What is good, man? Eric Uchimura, what's going on, man? Aloha. Good afternoon from Hawaii. It's probably what, middle of the afternoon there right now? All right, so Michael Ham, fishing and sports card hobbyist. What's good? Ham the Fish, another fellow tampon here. And Ham is thick and deep in the weeds on the quest as well. You're going to the Collector Con, man. Where's Collector Con? Is that here in Tampa?
Am I going to have to come down for that?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to come down for that, man.
I think so.
So tell the audience, Steve, about the recent experience you just had, because this is a very interesting story, and I wasn't aware that you could potentially get dinged as a seller for this on eBay. So I want you to share with people what just happened to you.
Yeah, so anyone selling on eBay, you've probably had this happen to you before, and it is someone who decides they are not going to pay for their purchase. In this particular case, it was a buyer who submitted an offer to me. I did accept the offer, and then he contacted me 2 days later and said, "Hey, man, I changed my mind. I'm not going to pay."
But so he submitted the offer to you.
Yes.
And then he changed his mind 2 days later, said, "I'm not going to pay." And he asked you, he had the audacity to ask you to cancel it.
Correct. Yeah. And that's where I got into looking into the eBay seller protocols on eBay. And it turns out that you can get dinged as a seller for canceling auctions. And I did have this with another card last month, not knowing that, but the buyer did not pay for 2 weeks. So just know if you're selling cards and they are not paying, once the payment window closes, which I think is like 4 or 5 days, you can actually, there's a button that pops up and it'll say contact eBay or something like that. And then they will put a strike on the buyer rather than you getting one for canceling the sale. So just something to keep in mind.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. I was not aware that was a possible scenario that could happen. Fortunately, I have had one guy that accepted the offer that I sent him, or he hit the buy it now. He just never paid, never responded to my messages. I eventually canceled it myself and relisted it. But I could see that. That makes sense. If you're canceling as a seller, you're canceling too many sales. I guess in eBay's eyes, that definitely looks bad, right? They're like, what is this guy? Why does this guy keep canceling?
Right, because it puts the the burdens on you if you're canceling it, and they don't know why you're canceling it. But if someone's not paying and they have a habit of doing this with other sellers, it's going to eventually maybe get their account banned. So I would imagine that someone buys a card and hasn't paid, and then the Sunday night games are over, and maybe that guy got hurt, or maybe that guy had a bad game, they might default. That's just how it is. But it shouldn't be, the burden shouldn't be on you. You didn't do anything wrong. Like you guys have said on the fantasy podcast, man up. If you buy a card, pay the man.
That's it, man. If you buy a card, man up, pay the man. Doesn't matter if you drink coffee out of a little mug that's got a little cat on it. You man up and pay for the card, and you receive it. You shouldn't have sent the offer. So Scaladesi, man, let's before we dig into these pick'ems, I'm going to share my screen and show the good people what we're talking about in terms of playoff best ball on Underdog Fantasy. The show is sponsored. We are affiliated with Underdog Fantasy. So for all new users, this is a tremendous help to the quest. But you also get a 100% deposit match bonus when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code Quest. And this is a $10 entry. So you sign up, put in 10, you get a free 10 instant. No slow drips, Galadesi. So you can instantly get that $10 free and then get into this wild card tournament and parlay that knowledge that you're finding out from this best ball tournament with some incredible players to buy right now. What do you think about that, Steve?
I think I'd like to try it out. I've seen best ball drafts. I haven't actually done one myself though, so this will be a first.
Yeah, so it's 10 rounds. So let me run through the little breakdown here for you for real quick for everybody. It is 10 rounds, right? And so you can see the max number of entrants, 5.6 thousand entrants by the end of this thing. It's going to close on January 15th. It's a $10 entry. You can enter into it up to 150 times, 150 rosters. There's going to be 4 tournament rounds, 10 rounds. There's going to be the draft size is basically a league of 6 people. And it's like a snake draft, and you're going to pick a player. And you want to build your roster in this construction I'm about to show you, because the first place is 10,000, second place 4,000. You can see you can win quite a bit of money, fantasy money, and kind of the goal is in this to pick players that are going to perform the best throughout the entirety of the playoffs, because the qualifiers is the wild card round of the NFL, round 2 is the divisional round, semifinals of conference championships, and then the championship is the Super Bowl. So if you got players left on your best ball roster that are in the Super Bowl, you're going to be putting up points and potentially winning the $10,000, which if you are buying players rookie cards right now that are going to be in the Super Bowl, you're going to make money. You are going to make money. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
Yeah, no, that definitely adds an element to your draft. The guys that you would want to have around in the Super Bowl probably wouldn't want to be a kicker. You probably want like a skill position player. So yeah, no, definitely.
It's half point PPR. The roster is only 1 QB, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers / tight end, 1 flex, 5 bench. So you really want to handcuff, you want to stack. So my thought process is, for example, if I'm betting on the Bucs going back to the Super Bowl, I'm going to want to stack as many Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Lombardi Lenny, as rosters as I can, and kind of put all my chips, because if they make it to the Super Bowl, then all of a sudden I've got a stacked roster to put up some awesome points in that final championship round. So I think that is a really good thought process to go into this type of tournament. And guys, it is a perfect parlay to buying those guys rookie cards now on the low because they are going to go up at the Super Bowl. We've seen that happen every year, even before the sports card boom. I don't know why we wouldn't see it this year. That would mean it would be a shock if it didn't happen, right?
So is this a full NFL player pool?
This is going to be a full NFL player pool right now. I just entered it. I think it's going to fill up pretty quick. Let's see. And it's only 30-second rounds. So, in fact, I've gone ahead and entered it. And you can see here with the player pool, look at all the different quarterbacks available. I mean, I could pick Jimmy Garoppolo, Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, Heineke, Roethlisberger, if I thought they were going to make the playoff. Russell Wilson, So yeah, this is the entire player pool. So you really have to understand the current standings in the NFL and which teams are likely to make the playoffs because you are picking players that are going to perform well in the playoffs. This is not going to actually start until January 15th. This tournament.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and
that'll give people a better idea of maybe who to take. Is it something you could change? Is there free agents or not?
No. Okay. No. So that's the 5 bench. That's one element of best ball. All the focus is on the draft, and once you draft your team, that's it, man. It's locked into place. There's no changing players on a weekly basis. There's no pickups, drops, anything like that.
So you probably want a backup quarterback just in case.
Potentially want to draft 2 quarterbacks, yeah. Because what it does is it automatically optimizes it'll give you the most amount of points based on that week's performance. So if you had Brady and Mahomes, if Brady got more points than Mahomes 1 week, then they're going to give you the points for Brady. So they'll automatically optimize it if you have multiple players in the same position.
All right.
Yeah, so I can show you like under my live because we did a lot of best ball drafts before the season. They were awesome, and it really sharpened my skills. You look at me, I'm doing all right in the rookie card league. I'm doing all right in the fantasy league. I'm making the playoffs in both of those leagues, in second place and third place in the other one. So I'm feeling good about my squad, and a lot of that, was honed in because of doing all these best ball drafts.
I like it. Yeah, I'll definitely have to throw down one of these.
So check this out, man. I'm in out of 26. I'm currently at stake 137. I'm winning 107. So I'm about break even right now, but it's not terrible. It's kind of all over the place, and we still have time left in the season. Some of the 12-person ones, yeah, I'm in first. So you can look at the roster and come over here and go, oh, okay, I'm in first at 527. Who did I have? I had Joe Burrow has put up most of my points on a weekly basis. This was a roster I did a dart throw on Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Watson. You can see Mac Jones has got points for me on a couple weeks, and Joe Burrow has got most of my points on a weekly basis, which Joe Burrow, if you look back from before the season, Joe Burrow was a great rookie card buy. I mean, his card values have gone up a lot from before the season when he was throwing interceptions in preseason and training camp till now, leading the Bengals to a playoff seed.
Yeah, and as I was telling you last week, I just got back into the hobby in about July, and I've been a Burrow fan for a long time, and I loaded up. And you know what? I'll be honest, even in July, I didn't entirely know what I was getting myself into because I wasn't familiar with the current market. I wasn't super familiar with, how to check prices and sales and stuff like that. And, it only took me a couple weeks to get caught up, but I did pretty good. I've got quite a few field level silvers and some other nice cards, and they're going for more than 10 times what I paid for them right now.
Nice. There you go. There you have it, guys. And so you look at my running back pick, Derrick Henry. Okay, his card prices were going up and up and up until he got that injury. Hopefully he'll be coming back. That was a foot injury, and so hopefully he'll be coming back. Actually, playoff time. We could see Derrick Henry get back on the field. Deandre
I actually
Swift.
I
What
read
is
something on
that?
Henry today about they said he could come back January 2nd. It would be the earliest.
Ooh. I know he takes his conditioning and his physical therapy very seriously, so I could see it. Let's check out the comments. Who we got? JJ Bama in the house. What's up? Gaming God LJ, man. Long time no see, guys. What is going on? Jackson, JJ Bama, Shelly, what's good? Awesome, man. Yeah, glad to see you guys in the chat tonight. Drop any comments, questions you want. And Collector Con, man, I'll definitely keep my eye on that in the next couple weeks here. My wide receiver pick, if you noticed, Steve, was Debo Samuel. He's put up the most points for me. I had Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, but Debo Samuel, I know he's going to miss a couple weeks with a minor injury, but overall, I mean, Debo Samuel has been playing lights out. Like,
And he's taking snaps out of the backfield. I mean, how do you beat that?
a little Cordell Patterson in him.
You know, we're used to looking for running backs that can catch the ball. This is a receiver that can catch the ball running the ball. So it's changing the game.
So see, taking that best ball knowledge right there and parlaying that with card investments is a great strategy if you hit on those guys. I want to get your opinion. I want to do a over under a pick 'em for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's game, Thursday night. This is not. Yeah. Okay. Dallas at New Orleans. How you feeling about this game, Steve? What are you feeling in terms of over unders here on these props?
Let's see what we got there. Let's see. You know, the Ezekiel Elliott thing it's not a certainty right now. They're saying that he's fine, but they're not really in a position to push him. They don't have to. So I would be worried about any of his overs. But Pollard, on the other hand, has a little up arrow next to his name. They don't have to lean on Zeke as much right now because they don't have to. They have a pretty healthy lead in the division. So Pollard, 16.5 receiving yards. That one's pretty nice.
16.5 receiving yards or 61.5 total rushing and receiving yards.
Those are both pretty good. I'll tell you the one I don't like, and that's the Dak passing over. I don't like that one. New Orleans' pass defense is actually quite good, but the Pollard ones look pretty nice.
Where the heck is okay, there's Amari Cooper. I'm like, how many weeks in a row is Amari Cooper going to have COVID?
He's, I think he was limited.
He missed 2 weeks already.
Yeah, the recent news out of camp, though, is that he's not 100%. He's feeling fatigued. So I would be wary of that. And Lamb is just coming off an injury, but he practiced in full.
And his was a concussion.
Yeah. Was it 2 weeks he missed as well?
It was 2 weeks that he missed as well. And you know what? I did read an article about exactly what you said, Steve. They are looking to rest up Ezekiel Elliott. You look at the standings. Dallas is almost a shoe-in at this point for making the playoffs and in their division. And so they are making sure that Zeke is 100% for when that comes. There's no point in rushing him. And he's been dealing with some nagging knee issues. And so they're going to make sure that it gets that thing back to 100% and give them a week off when they've got this kind of lead. I think that they can easily beat New Orleans with the way New Orleans has been playing. And with Marshawn Lattimore and the Saints secondary being well above average in league rankings, I think the way to go is attack them on the ground, in like a screen game, run game, all that kind of stuff. I think the over on Tony Pollard here is really nice.
here's another thing to take into consideration. As of right now, Taysom Hill is starting for the Saints.
Ooh.
So that's a big question mark. But in my opinion, I don't see them putting a ton of points up. So I think the run game will be heavy. And I think that favors Pollard quite a bit.
Yeah, so it's a close game, fought in the trenches. I like it. So I'm thinking here, I'm just going to go with the total, rushing and receiving, whatever it may be, 61.5.
Seems pretty safe.
I think I mean, you're adding a little bit because their rushing only is 44. And so yeah, you add them up. That's 61. We're at 61.5. So yeah, I think I mean I feel like it's gonna be too hard to I mean that receiving seems really low to me too, but I think they both seem low.
Yeah, and by taking that half yard penalty, it just excuse me has to be a combination of the two. You might not get the receiving yards if you were to take both of those other two bets, or the rushing yards, for example.
And I find it interesting that if Amari Cooper may play, and I guess we don't know for 100% yet. CeeDee Lamb, he should play, and it was a concussion, so he should be back. I like Michael Gallup in this if Amari Cooper's on a pitch count, because he's an outside threat. Last week, Michael Gallup, or anytime, in fact, that Amari Cooper has been out, Michael Gallup has put up solid production. I mean, last week he had 106 receiving yards. So 96% snap share. The week before that as well, 94% snap share and 44 receiving yards. That was at Kansas City in that low scoring game where Kansas City's defense actually decided to play. Even in that game, he had 40 receiving yards, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to hinge on if Cooper in fact plays. It doesn't sound too promising, so you might be right on with that over.
I don't know who else to pick here, though. To be honest with you, unless I pick a Dak one, or I could go under. I could go under on the total. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be airing it out. I don't. The only thing that could really screw that is if there's a long connection on one play, but I don't see it. Not that it can't happen, but it's quite a strong defense.
Well, I think I'm going to go conservative this one just because there's not many options. I really don't have the trust in any of these receiving over unders. I mean, I'm tempted to press under on Marquez Callaway.
It'll be the one time he proves you wrong, though. I don't know. with Taysom Hill throwing the ball, man, I don't know.
I don't know what to expect, man.
Has he started a game in his career? I don't know if he has.
He has started a game last year. He started a couple games last year, and that's when it was like, wow, the receivers just get a total downgrade with Taysom Hill back there because he's likely to tuck and run it. He just doesn't push the ball down the field very well. He's not nearly as good of a thrower as he is a rusher, and so their game plan is totally different.
So Kamara is going to be back, from my understanding. They're going to have to rely heavily on him to have a chance.
But he's too risky, according to Underdog. He's too risky to even put up a prop for him.
I agree. Yeah.
And you don't see Taysom Hill on here either because it's too risky. I guess it's uncertainty.
That volatility, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the Thursday night games, those look pretty good. I wouldn't touch anybody. I wouldn't touch anybody on the Saints.
I'm so tempted to press the over, but sure enough, it would be like my luck that they would prove me wrong. But it's so tempting. Like I get 6x. Oh man, I got to do it. I got to hit it under on one. I'm gonna hit an under on Traquan Smith because he's got the highest total.
Fair. Yeah. He'll go under, and Callaway will go off for 100.
There you go.
Let's see.
Confirm. Put in $5. There it is, guys, for tomorrow night. $5 turn into 50. Now, in terms of parlaying that with rookie cards, I think the clear buy in this entire sheet right here is Tony Pollard. Wouldn't you say?
I would. His cards are already valued pretty well, but he's maybe a season or two away from maybe handling the backfield by himself, whether that's with Dallas or not. And maybe we don't like Dak in this game that much, but I like Dak long term, and I like Dak for the playoffs too. And as far as I'm concerned, I mentioned it last week. His rookie cards, I still think are very undervalued. When you put him side by side with someone like I don't know, any of the top quarterbacks for that matter. I mean, I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. His card prices wouldn't represent that though.
You know what else I really like about Dak, Steve, is that he's a 2016 rookie. So when you look at his cards, that's a first-year optic. And there's definitely an increase in collectability and investment factor in a first-year product, especially one as iconic as optic rated rookie, right?
Yeah, and what is it? As soon as next year, Panini will be no more.
Well, I don't. Is that set in stone? Has that already been inked out with Fanatics?
I don't know. I haven't seen any dates, but I would imagine. I don't know. I mean, for all we know, Fanatics could somehow keep Optic and make a new Optic under their name. Who knows? I don't know exactly how that works.
That's a good. Hey, what's up, Brian? That's a good point from Jackson here. He says, "Why don't I do the under for Zeke?" Well, it's because I think Zeke could rip off a couple big plays easily for 65 and a half. They could be, for all we know, yeah, they're gonna rest him, but he could be on a pitch count, and I don't feel as confident hitting the under on Zeke as I do hitting the over on Tony Pollard.
I think if there was like a Zeke to score a touchdown, that might be a safer pick than him to get the yardage combo.
Yeah, yeah, and I do see what you're saying. And I could go if I'm going to go over on Pollard and then under on Zeke. I think that's definitely doable too. Like I'm almost tempted to do a secondary one where I do go under on 65 and a half. I wonder if let me look at what the latest is on Zeke.
He didn't put up a lot of yards last week either.
Zeke has practiced in full every day this week and is expected to suit up and start Thursday night. But see, it's like behind the scenes though. It's clear that the knee is an issue with his explosiveness, and Tony Pollard has looked like the better option out of the back. I mean, yeah, Tony Pollard's looked like the better option since last year, this time when Zeke was Mr. Butterfingers. So, and you're right, last week, I mean, he only had 24 receiving yards and 25 rushing yards. At Kansas City, 32 and 36, so he was at 68. And last week he was at 49.
Yeah,
so,
he's got the goal line work, but he hasn't been moving the chains very much.
Very true. So you could go under Zeke total yardage, over Pollard total yardage, and you could play it that way because you could stop right there and just 3x. Like do a $5 make 15 on something that small by itself.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you come in here, maybe mix it up, maybe hit the over on CeeDee Lamb and hit the under on Marquez Callaway instead of Traquan Smith, and do a little contrarian play, to my Michael Gallup over and my Traquan Smith over. So I kind of like these, because I'm trying to hedge in my bets a little bit, but the common denominator is over on Tony Pollard.
And the
And
best part
dude, look
about
at
it
this
is,
auction. You know one of my favorite cards, especially 2019. I love how they did this logo, the team logos. Like I love 2019 Buccaneers rookie ticket auto cards. I love the way this rookie ticket auto looks from 2019. And dude, look at this. This is November 30th. This was yesterday. Auction ended at 4:24 p.m. On card rookie ticket auto for Tony Pollard at $20.
that's so cheap.
It's very,
And
very cheap
I know
whenever.
we talked about this the other day, but yeah, I mean, if Pollard starts getting a lot more work and they use him more going into the playoffs, his already elevated card values could continue to go up. I can tell you that in a strange twist, I have sold more Tony Pollard cards than Joe Mixon cards this season. And they're all high end cards, Dragon Scales, PSA 10s, PSA 9s, autos, non autos. It's just weird. I mean, but
So
Dallas
yeah.
has a market that is much larger than Cincinnati's. It's just what it is.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is because man, the market size of the Dallas Cowboys influences those cards so much, just because their fan base is literally millions of people larger than Cincinnati's. But when the focus is consolidated in the playoffs, let's say Dallas gets knocked out, all of a sudden Cincinnati pulls off a a, a, a huge win, in the playoffs. Then all of a sudden you've got all this focus around Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. Who's your? I know last time you talked, you said you had this orange prism from Joe Mixon
Yeah.
on the Bengals, and right now I'm feeling very confident about the Bengals making the playoffs. Who's your favorite investment target on the Bengals?
I think it'd be hard to not say Burrow, and that could be a biased thing, but I just think that if you look at quarterback values for cards right now, he's right up there
Mm-hmm.
with all the other top QBs as far as the price of his rookie cards. And you got to remember, last year he got really shorted by injuries. So he's hungry, and if they get into the playoffs, I could see his cards going way up. I mean, like we just talked about earlier with my field level silver rookie card, I bought it in July for probably $40, and ungraded, they're selling for 400 or 500. I've seen them go for.
Man, that's really good. And so, do you think that those cards though are going to? So you think they're going to continue to appreciate if the Bengals, like they're playing the Chargers this week? Um, I was going to look at the rest of their schedule here to the playoffs, but you think those cards will continue to appreciate into the playoffs if they were to pull off a playoff run?
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's, part of the market that might still be skeptical because, he was hurt last year, so they have a small sample size to work with versus somebody like Patrick Mahomes. But you guys covered this on the show the other night. Mahomes cards are diving.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, there is this free for all for what quarterback is going to take the number one spot for the most desirable rookie card. And I think it's maybe going to be whoever wins the Super Bowl this year. If it's a younger quarterback, especially, whether that be Murray or Burrow, Herbert, maybe.
You know what's interesting? Look at the schedule for the Bengals here coming down the stretch. They got the Chargers this week, and so this is a big game because the Chargers are now coming off of a loss to the Broncos, where it's like they've kind of fallen off their high horse from earlier in the season, right? And then they have the 49ers who are hit or miss, and they're struggling, but they're definitely well ahead of the definitely well ahead of the Seahawks, but they're behind the Rams and the Cardinals. But the Broncos their defense is so good. It's just like what version of Teddy Bridgewater are you going to get in that game? I think that any of these games they could win. Then they get the Ravens again, division opponents in Week 16. So it's like almost like we're looking at a potential roller coaster here. And if Joe Burrow can lead the Bengals to wins over these teams, there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on these games. These are big matchups here, man. And then they get the Chiefs Week 17, and then the Browns again Week 18 to finish the season. I mean, you're right. I definitely could see if they win out, if they win some more of these games and make a playoff run, we're looking at a big uptick.
I think obviously there's quite a few interesting games that you just showed right there, and I think one of the key ones to watch, I think, is this week. They play the Chargers, and those are like same quarterback class, similar skill set, similar card value, and it's not too often you get to see them square off with one another. So I think that's going to be interesting.
I'm curious to see what card should I look up for Joe Burrow? What card do you think is kind of like Joe Burrow's gold standard?
Whew, man, those rookie ticket autos are going for a lot of money, but there's so many. When you look at some of his cards, autos or short prints, I mean, look at that dollar amount. It's insane.
These are available listings. Yeah, a lot of slabs. There's that nice little blue one right there, 62 out of 99 for $2,000. Let's look at the sold auctions. We know here on the Quest we're targeting those auctions. Here's a Probstein, ended yesterday for 1,136. Here's a PSA 8 with the auto at a 10, 644.
I can't believe the 8 went for like half the price of the raw card.
It's a shame, man. I'm a big believer in investing the card in the player before the grade, and I think someone got a deal because shoot, you could crack this thing out of the slab, sell it raw. It's because in the raw format you have the hope, the aspiration that it could be a 10, right? For these higher end investors.
I mean, honestly, if I saw that auction, I would have went in on it. That's a hell of a steal right there.
This Joey B. I love the signature too, Joey B. So 644. So it's not terrible. I'm curious to see.
What about some buy it now prices?
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the buy it now solds. I mean, people are paying that money. So this is what's wild. This is the same exact card that you guys just saw from the PSA 8 that sold for 644. Now we could go, and what you do is you just kind of like copy and can highlight this and copy it, and then I'll come over to 130 point and we'll see what it got accepted for. But I would guess. I mean, what are you going to guess, Steve, that this got accepted for?
What was the sale price?
2,500. Best offer accepted.
I'll say 2,100.
2,100.
Yeah, let's say 20.
Pretty solid discount.
You learn something new every day. I've seen this website. I didn't know you could copy and paste listing totals. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the way it works best for me, because then, boom, you'll immediately get that one popped up to the top. And look at that. $1,500, brother.
Nice. I mean, the guy probably pulled it out of a box. Guy probably pulled it out of a box. It's hard to say no to that amount of money.
I think that I think this was probably, and I'd love to hear some of your guys' opinions on this, but this is, as you can see here, Steve, in a with a Panini seal on the top of it.
It's a redemption card.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a redemption card that someone sent in, and that's how it comes back from Panini. So you got to feel pretty confident in the grade. However, I mean, I'm sure the guy that got the PSA 8 handled that card just fine as well. And PSA obviously found something. And maybe it's one of those cards that you crack and regrade with PSA. I've seen guys doing that, and they have been successful with that as well.
Yeah, I think that as far as the redemption cards go, it's pretty safe. But I have actually seen a video recently where a guy sent in a couple of redemption cards, and 2 of them got 8s. So, I mean, it's not a guarantee.
Not a guarantee. All right. I was looking at Shelly's comment here. Falcons Tampa Bay game is the place to be this weekend. Go Atlanta. Yes, I am delirious. I'm on NyQuil with this awful cold. Jeez, well, I hope you get feeling better, Shelly. But you got me thinking. Actually, I want to look at pick'ems for Sunday, and this is the first game I want to look at.
Let's
is
go.
Tampa at Atlanta, right? So let's see what we got Sunday. Oh yeah, we got 4 right now. I imagine there's gonna be some more added, but right now, Tom Brady 299. We're not gonna have Antonio Brown. Antonio
Yeah,
Brown's gonna
he's
be
out
out
for
for the
2 more
next 2
weeks.
weeks. 2 more weeks, man. So I don't know what Antonio Brown price they're at. Obviously, there's a lot of volatility that comes with that guy. I see Billy Mo's comment right here: wide receivers to invest in. Antonio Brown's a Hall of Famer. They're going to reluctantly let him in, but they got to let him in based on his stats and his championships alone. They got to let him in, even though he is a loose cannon. He's crazy, but still, when he's on the field, he is money. And there's just something about that connection with Brady and Antonio Brown that is almost unstoppable. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
Yeah, if you remember week 1, that was, wow, electric. The connection between those guys is definitely serious. And when he gets back on the field, presumably in 2 weeks, I think they'll be ready to make that playoff run official. Lock it up.
Shelly's going to be at this game. She's going to be at this game. So I almost feel compelled to pick one of these overs, one of these receiving overs here on Atlanta. How do you feel about this receiving over on Kyle Pitts at 58.5?
You know what? He's been so volatile week to week. That's really hard to say. And it's not that he's bad, and it's not maybe that Matt Ryan's even bad, but as someone that unfortunately has Matt Ryan in our fantasy rookie card league, he has no time to throw the ball whatsoever. And Tampa's defense is just really good. So I would be very wary on that. Now, on the flip side, you could say that they could be getting blown out and there'll be garbage time points. So that's another possibility as well. I think maybe the Patterson one could be safer. But you know what? Technically, Tampa's more of a run-stopping team. They do create a lot of turnovers. So I could see the over happening too.
Yeah, this is a tough one to pick. It is rushing and receiving. Cordell Patterson. Obviously, as you guys just saw, Cordell Patterson, the number 9 running back in the entire league right now. He's having a really good year. Just so happens what Steve was preaching from the mountaintops. Just I didn't have him on the channel then, but he was preaching beginning of the season, telling his dad, his brother, everybody, go pick up Cordell Patterson, put him on your fantasy team, and while you're at it, go buy you some rookie ticket autos of him for like $5, and you'll be thanking me and just thank me later. and that paid off for those guys, right?
Yeah, they're all in first in all their leagues, so you're welcome. And I did actually, before the season, I bought 3 Prism autos of Cordell Patterson, and needless to say, those sold very easily. So yeah, the one thing about him is, he's 30 as far as a long-term investment, but there's players like him that haven't had the usage that a traditional running back has had over the course of his career. So he's mostly played receiver. So I don't think that his, running back pinnacle is here yet. I think he's in it, and I think it'll last a little bit longer than traditional running backs would.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing because he is, been in the league for 8 years, like you're saying. His age apex has obviously been elongated. So the dude is an incredible athlete, and I think that's why a lot of people have gone out and sought out his rookie cards and stuff. And I'm kind of like in the mindset now, like, dude, I'm wanting to get more Tyler Heineke's because he's on my fantasy squad in the 12-man league, and he's been clutch for me. And I mean, you just look at the guy. The guy's got true grit, and he was another guy that you were like telling me to go out and buy that first week, and he was a roller coaster back earlier in the season. But I would say since about 4 weeks ago, when it looked like he was throwing balls just 10 feet over Terry McLaurin's head, now all of a sudden he's looking a lot more solid, a lot more consistent, better decisions, the whole 9 yards. And Fitzpatrick's done for the year, and we're looking at a potential Washington football team wild card position.
Isn't it great?
It is great, man, and I'm wondering if Tyler Heineke's cards are still undervalued.
I would say they are.
So
I would say they are because after that, those first couple games where he came out swinging, the prices went through the roof. Mike White style, and then after a few weeks, just dive bombed. And I'm not saying they're as cheap as they were before he came out and started, but if he remains the starter, I mean, could you make the argument that he's better than Daniel Jones or as good as Daniel Jones? I mean, Daniel
absolutely.
Jones, his cards, I don't understand why. It could just be because he plays in New York, but Daniel Jones cards have pretty good value, in my opinion, for a guy that's not as good as his card values would reflect.
Daniel Jones, I think you're spot on there. It's one, it's the New York Giants fan base, and two, it's the draft capital that was spent on him in the 2019 draft. And so he's had that expectation and that hype factor baked into in that fan base size value baked into his rookie cards since 2019. Whereas Heineke has literally been a backup since 2017. Led the Vikings to like an overtime win in one game where that he's like, it's actually, you could look it up. It's like kind of a big video on YouTube. And that was Heineke's career before the playoff game against Tampa Bay, where he almost led the Washington football team to a win in the playoffs against Tampa. And he was Supermaning into the end zone with the dislocated shoulder and the whole 9 yards. It was crazy. And so there was like a big spike then. And now this year, you're right. He came in, it was hot out the gate, Mike White style. And then he cooled off big time because he started making mistakes. He started, looking like a rookie pretty much, kind of like Mike White did. But there's a much longer leash on Heineke because he does have some very appealing dual threat capability, being able to rush. And he's you can tell that they respect the guy a lot. Like he's a natural leader on that team. And I think that, since then, he's kind of continued to go back up.
What do you think about this comparison? And I've heard this a couple other places as well. But, obviously he may not hit that pinnacle, but a lot of people have compared him to Brett Favre. Like you said, he's got grit. He's tough. He's a gunslinger. He's a leader. He might never be like, Joe Namath, or he might never be like the top 10 quarterback ever, but he's a guy that can win football games, and that's pretty much what a team looks for.
The one thing I do see very similar to him and Brett Favre is that in these clutch, pressure-packed situations, Taylor Heineke seems to be able to extend plays and just like make these miraculous broken tackles, squirts out of a pocket that just had like 12 guys in it, and then hits Terry McLaurin in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown in like the last 2 seconds of a game. He's got that kind of ability to lead a team to some just crazy, like what just happened type of moments that would make like incredible draw incredible attention to his rookie cards.
Yeah, and I feel like in this country that we live in, people love an underdog, and for him to even to get where he is right now, I feel like that's an accomplishment. And if he can get them into the playoffs, I mean, he'll really make a name for himself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and I feel like that there's a pretty decent possibility that he could continue to get better and better, and he could lead them to a win in the playoffs, but like in a wild card game.
Yeah, obviously he's not a rookie aged quarterback. He's not super young. He's young. I mean, we live in a day and age where players are playing into their 40s now. So this is he's it's his first year starting, and now he's got a team around him that's pretty young. So hypothetically, he could be there a while.
Very true. Very true. Hypothetically, he could. I'm kind of looking at the value here of his rookie ticket autos. Um, for a quarterback for 2015, it's really not bad. It's really not bad, because quarterbacks do drive the market. Oh wow, look at this, man! Someone got him a nice deal. Now this one is a sticker auto for whatever reason, but still, 44.99.
It's a pretty good buy.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good buy, even though it's a sticker auto. Pretty solid autograph.
Yeah, I got to give you credit, man. As someone who was out of the collecting game for a long time, I didn't know anything about the rookie ticket autos existence until your channel. So that definitely helped out a great bit, because I've been able to come across some really good cards as a result of that.
I'll tell you, man, rookie ticket auto is where it's at in terms of ROI for investment value. It's one of the best cards, in my opinion, to invest in. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, even look at these cards in his college jersey, and it's one of those cards where they printed for almost every player, so it's a great card you can use to comp as well.
Do they have or have they announced a rookie ticket auto for this draft class yet?
They have a collegiate one, but not the main contender set. Did you see though that 2021 Prism has been announced and the artist proofs have been released?
Yeah,
I showed them to Carter for the first time yesterday.
I'm super excited about that. On one hand, and on the other hand, I'm not, because if we are being honest with each other, it's going to be very difficult to get your hand on unopened product.
I'm going to pull it up to share with everybody on the live stream right now. You guys are in for a little treat. I'm gonna show this in case you guys aren't subscribed to the Questcast, our second YouTube channel. We drop a video every week with Carter from Power Hour LSU. I showed him the artist proofs for Prism. Here they are right here on the screen. And it is scheduled to be released in hobby box format, released from distribution on January 26th of 2022. And they're already sold out. But these are what the parallels look like. They actually did not have a base proof. So you have this, and then they have the autographs. They have the rookie autographs, Prism Red Wave. There's a Trey Lance. There's a Legends autograph, Bill Parcells, which is pretty cool. And then a rookie patch Prism Gold autograph, Trevor Lawrence.
That's nice.
And then
I think that's real nice.
That's nice, right? That's a one-touch effect for you. And then you got this. Look at this manga insert from Brady there in the middle.
It's Thanos. He's gonna
Thanos.
Tom Brady's gonna snap, and all the other teams are gonna vanish.
That's his end game, man. It's his end game. No.
I think those are pretty cool. I wonder if they're gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
I wonder if they're gonna have the same texture as like the Prism cards.
That's a good question. I hope they make it nice and thick, and that's probably going to be like $1 million. But
yeah, is that the new downtown? Is that the new Kaboom?
Well, I mean, so this is going to be a case hit. Yeah, this is going to be a case hit in Prism, like the Color Blast. So yeah, I think it's going to be along those levels of a Marvels or a Downtown or a Kaboom. It's going to have that type of collectability factor because, I mean, they're not just going to print it in Brady, right? They're going to be printing these mangas for all the other big name athletes as well, I imagine.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty cool. I think it'd be. I'm very curious to see what some of the other ones look like, though.
Right? You're excited, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I am. So this is hobby only, correct?
No, this is going to be. They're showing the images from the artist proofs from the hobby boxes, potential hits, because the hobby boxes and the hobby box cases have gone pre-sale, but I imagine there's going to be a chance to pull one of these in a retail box as well.
Okay.
It's just going to be very rare.
I can already see the fights at the Walmart parking lot. People waiting to get inside at 6 a.m.
Oh yeah. What's your opinion on the look? On this look right here, the design.
You know, I actually really like it because you know you have to take something into consideration that you can't really see on the screen, and that's what the effect of the card is going to look like. You know, and if you look at what the current prisms look like with the color effect, it's got the prism effect. It's got a shine to it, a hologram look to it as well. You know, on the screen, it just kind of looks flat and bland, but I think they're going to look really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be pretty cool. The Brian, shout out to Brian. He's a big Steelers fan. He's a good dude. He wants to know what your opinion is on Mason Rudolph being the starting QB for the Steelers next year. I'd like to hear your opinion before I give mine, Steve.
I could be wrong, but I believe he's a free agent, isn't he?
Be honest.
I'm pretty sure he is. Not right now, but I'm saying at the end of the season. I could be wrong. I was just reading an article on this before the stream. It's either him or Haskins that's a free agent at the end of the season.
Okay, so Mason Rudolph signed a 1-year, $5 million contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it says free agent 2023. I think he signed a 1-year contract with them this year, meaning he's extended through 2022.
All right.
Because it says Rudolph's 2022 base salary is just $3 million. So he's going to be. Yeah.
There's actually a rumor, and obviously there's other suitors, but that Jimmy Garoppolo can end up there.
Jimmy Garoppolo, that's not a bad calculation. I definitely, yeah.
It's an upgrade from, you know, the way Roethlisberger's playing. Not that he hasn't kind of turned it up a little bit lately, but I think it's safe to say he's probably done after this year.
Just, man, especially with the aging offensive line that the Steelers have, and he took a nasty hit to his elbow last week. You saw that? Did you see that?
I didn't.
Yeah, he took a nasty hit to his elbow, and I thought, I was like, oh, that was his throwing elbow, and I was like, oh man, he might be he might be missing some time for that because that was the same elbow he had the surgery on, and he was clutching it, grimacing in pain. And we already know he's been struggling to kind of push the ball down the field. You're right. There's been some games where he's had an uptick in the passing velocity and the passing downfield and everything, but he's so immobile. It's kind of one of those things with the aging offensive line. They really need somebody that's got a little bit more athletic ability, um, that has a little bit better throw velocity. And I don't think Mason Rudolph's the answer. They've tried that, and I don't think Mason Rudolph has delivered for them. I think they've at some point this season, before the season ends, they've got to give Dwayne Haskins a full start to see if he can perform. Because he hasn't had a chance yet, right? I mean, they've got to give him a chance to see what they've got in him. But I don't know if that he's it either, because it didn't pan out for the Washington Redskins either.
I think that there's 3 elite quarterbacks that'll be hypothetically free agents next year, and I would be more than certain that the Steelers will make a play at them, at least. Not guaranteeing they'll get one of them, but everyone's going to be in on Russell Wilson. Everyone's going to be in on Rodgers. That's not even counting Garoppolo. And then, we'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson. I mean, he would be a great fit there because they need someone mobile until that line gets built back up.
That's true. The problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers is they're in a tight spot because they went out and acquired so many defensive players because they thought they were in a win now mode this year, trying to make the playoffs and win this year, that they do not have nearly the salary cap space that the Denver Broncos have.
Correct.
So, and when it comes down to bidding for these Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks that are going to become available, which does not happen very often, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to get the first man up. They're not going to get the top dog. They may struggle to get the second or third guy. They may be, they may be forced to pick, one of the guys coming out in the draft next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for a certainty, but I think that in regards to the question, I would say probably not for Mason.
Let's see. Pittsburgh Steelers available salary cap 2022. What's up, Lenny? Voodoo Rage. They got a big cap hit, man. Geez, TJ Watt's going to be hitting the cap $31 million next year.
How much is Roethlisberger hanging on to,
though? It wasn't much. I just had his up. It was a few million for sure. He's not on the, let's see, 2022 salary cap table. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger, 2.5, dead cap, 10 million, 10.3 million cap hit.
The only thing I could think of is that, there's 3, maybe even 4 really good QBs out there in the offseason. And if they want one of them, they could hypothetically get any of them. They might have to restructure some deals or something, or front load or back load whoever's coming in. But, they have any quarterback wants to go to a team that has really good receivers, and I feel like they do. I think I was the only person. I was the only person I know that predicted that Tom Brady would go to the the Buccaneers. So, and if you look at what they have a defense and they have amazing receivers, and that's kind of the same thing that the Steelers have.
We also drafted Tristan Wirfs, and we had Donovan Smith and Ryan Jensen as our center. So we had an incredible offensive line to protect him as well.
Wirfs is a beast.
In fact, you've gotten into some offensive line collecting, right?
I was so mad last night. I had an auction lined up for Wirfs Optic Rookie Orange, which is like out of what, $199 or whatever. and I totally got distracted and missed it. It went for $2.30. I was beating myself up all evening over it.
$2.30. Holy cow, man!
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I collect all linemen, but if they're on the Bears or the Bucks, I'll probably buy them.
Look at this Trevor Lawrence over under at the Rams on Sunday at 4:05, 216 passing yards. Risque.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I never really had a great feeling about him this year anyway, but I don't know. I think that every time I give him an inch of credit and take an over on any of his bets, it always blows up in my face. So I don't know. That scares me.
I'd definitely take Najee at home, 92.5 rushing and receiving against division rivals Baltimore. This is a must-win game for Pittsburgh.
I think it's I like this time of year when there's teams that are mathematically still in it, despite maybe having a losing record or a 500 record. Not that I'm saying they will, but let's look at the Chicago Bears. Mathematically still in it.
Mathematically, you are correct, sir. I mean, yeah, 4-7. They can still make a wild card run. This is a 18-week season.
Does that mean I think they'll get there? I mean, have they played better the past few weeks than they have all year? Of course, but I don't know.
Justin Fields is coming back this week.
Yeah. The thing with, I don't know, as a lifelong Bears fan, here's one thing that you know about the Bears is they don't win big. They win ugly every time.
Why, man? I know. I've noticed that, dude. And it's so it's such a difficult game to watch. Like, man, it's so hard to get emotionally invested in any of the Bears players or like the team.
I mean, Mooney and Montgomery are pretty safe, but outside of that, it's really hard as far as collecting. So random thought. I saw you had the Brady bet up there. He's actually leading the league in not only touchdowns but passing completions. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Ooh, completions. I mean, he's front runner for MVP. I definitely think that Brady's gonna get the MVP again this year with the way things are going.
Yeah, that would be great.
30, 23. Yeah, he's got a ton of completions. You know what?
I think.
So, are you alluding?
He's beating the second guy by 50 or 60.
Wow. He is due for a bigger passing game. The thing is, man, he hasn't had like one of these big over 300 games since Antonio Brown's been hurt. Except for the one at New Orleans before the bye. Giants, but it's so game script dependent. Like Brady's just a winner, like he's okay with running the ball 25, 30 times in a game if that means they win.
I'll be honest, that Atlanta game does scare me. Not in the effect of them losing, because they won't, but in the effect of Fournette coming off of a 5-touchdown game. I don't think Atlanta's going to put many points up. And, not that they don't run the score up sometimes, not like they did with the Patriots, but as an older quarterback, I could see them maybe preserving if they start getting ahead quite a bit.
Yeah, he threw 276 yards against Atlanta in week 2. I I remember that game. I mean, it wasn't even really much of a challenge in that game. He didn't even. I mean, he threw 5 touchdown passes. 5 touchdown passes, only 276 yards. That's how like good our defense set us up. The whole 9 yards. It was just a steamroll. 5 touchdown passes.
I mean, if you look at how bad Atlanta looked against non-championship caliber teams the past couple of weeks, I would be skeptical on a lot of these overs like Brady's. There's a good chance the defense scores a touchdown in this game, and there's a good chance there's a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, Mike Evans only had 75 yards in that game. In fact, Mike Evans hasn't hit the over on 75 yards since week 7. And before that, he had 27, then 113, 75, 106. So, I mean, we could be looking at a big Mike Evans week. I mean, it could be Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin's due for a big week. Or like you said, like we don't even need to really. I mean, yeah, he's going to throw for 250 yards, but that'll be 250, 3 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette gets 3 touchdowns. there's, there's 44 points right there.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any question that they'll get respectable fantasy points. As far as the raw passing yardage, I don't know if it's going to be there because of the extenuating circumstances.
Well, I gotta find. Let's look at Vegas before we sign off. Let's look at the odds. So, like we just talked about MVP. Still, like Tom Brady, clear front runner right now by almost 200 points on the odds. So, I mean, it's pretty solid. Tom Brady is the front runner. Josh Allen, Rodgers, Kyler Murray, and he's just kind of fell as he's just like not played. Tied with Mahomes, who's still up there. Dak, Jonathan Taylor now in the top 7 for
I like
MVP
that. It's
consideration.
not often, and even Cooper Kupp, I see his name on there. It's not very often you see a skill position player.
Yeah, win the MVP. The last one was Adrian Peterson, man. Back in like 2012. I want to look and see what the rookie ticket autos of Jonathan Taylor has gotten up to. Sold December 1st, $390. Oh, man, his collegiates are up to $70. Yeah, they're getting expensive, bro. This one's a sticker too, but it's numbered out of 23.
I like that. I like that orange one there. That was nice.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 24 out of 50. That is nice. There you go. Here's a good old base one. 145, buy it now. 145. So, wow, I mean, that's up to 145. You compare that to another elite running back that is injured. Let's take Cam Akers and let's see what his are down to. I mean, big market. He could have been in a similar situation as Jonathan Taylor right now if he never got hurt.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Cam Akers is that, yeah, his prices are down, but people are still buying. I mean, if you look, people are still buying his cards.
I think it's that hope that, look, he's so young. We know he's going to be coming back next year, and it's going to be on, and he's still got so much time ahead of him, and he was such a promising prospect coming in that, they're still investing in. The market size is big. So, I mean, they're definitely, I guess you could say a third to a fourth, but this is more than I expected to see them selling for, to be honest with you.
He's another one, just like Derrick Henry, who could be back in the playoffs.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting right there. We know J.K. Dobbins is not going to be back in the playoffs. Yeah, his are going for around the same price as Cam Akers.
Yeah, I remember early in the season reading some metrics on Dobbins, and if they could get him back, I mean, I think if he didn't get hurt, they'd be in a much better position than they are right now.
So there's J.K. Dobbins. I think that's, looking at the value of his, they're around the same as Cam Akers, around that $40 price point. So we're talking a fourth, 25% of Jonathan Taylor. Let's look at Clyde Edwards. God damn it. I always forget how to.
What's your take on Mr. Clyde?
I mean, I wanna like him. Like I've liked him more in the past, and I didn't spell his name wrong. His name is hard for me to remember how to spell. And I mean, I know he was part of that prolific offense at LSU, and he is like a kind of like a powerhouse workhorse back. He's kind of smaller, thicker, but he's got good receiving ability, good between the tackles, upfield ability. But between the injuries and then just like fumbling in clutch situations, has really kind of, I think, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I think his potential, though, is huge. There was also a little bit of a stigma around him last year as around blocking, around pass blocking, pass protecting for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And he's already missed 5 games this year. He also, there was something controversial that he did on the field not too long ago. I can't think of it, but it was something disrespectful that he did or controversial that he did on the field that wasn't, I don't think, a very good look for him either.
I also think with him I'm not saying that he's necessarily a top tier running back, but I do think that his fantasy success or lack of this year, other than the injury, a lot of that's had to do with just the Chiefs' mediocre play in general.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he's a product of his environment in a lot of ways this year. Look, his rookie ticket autos are not selling for very much more than 2 guys who aren't even playing at all this year, J.K. Dobbins and Cam Akers.
Yeah, that's
so that's pretty wild, right?
Yeah, that's. I guess that is a testament to the general public's faith in his longevity as a starting running back.
Yeah, dude, this one is numbered out of 99, and it's a playoff ticket auto that's silver. That's like looks like it was it looks like it was from the base set, but yeah, it's from the base set, but you see the silver on it and numbered out of 99.
And it's uncirculated on top of that.
Yeah, and it's sealed from Panini. That's sold for $49.99. Wow.
That's a good. I mean, it's a bargain. I mean, even if the Chiefs go to the playoffs, you'd make at least a couple bucks off that, I'm sure.
All right, so now we look at Antonio Gibson, who I think is going to his stock should go up here. And oh wow, somebody should jump on this like right now, dude. Ends in 12 minutes is only at $9.60. You guys were looking.
I haven't been watching my auction tabs. I'm 99% sure I have that saved somewhere.
Yeah, so I guess before we sign off, man, because we still got looks like 6 people out there. I want you to explain to people what you were explaining to me about why it's important to actually, instead of just going ahead and placing, say my max bid on this was $30. Instead of me placing my $30 max bid on this now, like actually watching this, setting my notifications to where it lets me know when there's 2 minutes left, and so I can come on here and then quickly assess whether I want to get in or not and placing my bid in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, the longer you can wait to submit your final bid, specifically the last second is pretty imperative, because the earlier you bid, you will kind of start a little wildfire, if you will, and get other people bidding against you. So realistically, so I have a card that I am literally bid on just right now and won. I'll give you an example. As we're having this recording right now, I just bid on a McLaurin Prism rookie out of 249. I got it for $15. I mean, that card should sell for way more than that, but it was at 11. And had I put in $15 20 minutes ago, somebody would have put in 16 at the last second, or somebody would have put in 20 at the last second. So the people that have the high bid going into the final seconds, minutes, whatever, are going to sit there in comfort knowing that they either have the high bid at whatever it shows or near whatever it shows. So, you just have to use your judgment on, what you're willing to pay for the card within reason, and then throw that down at the last second. Because if your objective is to get the card for as little as possible, then I would be waiting till the last second. If that means setting an alarm on your phone, or just sitting there and watching it, if it ends in 10 minutes like this card does, that's ultimately the best way, I would say. I mean, I probably do this for about 50 cards a week, and I can tell you that the ones that I bid early on will cost me more money. I think that whether you're collecting to keep it in a personal collection or to resell it, I think we can all agree that the objective is to get the card for the lowest price possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you made, Steve, because it's kind of like, showing your move too soon or showing your hand too soon, like that. In terms of cards and winning auctions at the lowest possible price, your bid in these auctions is your hand. That is the power that you have. And so if you go ahead and show that by putting it out there and raising it up to whatever the next highest bid is, then yeah, you just gave the next bidder that was already planning to get in at a certain price that ammunition. I think that makes really good sense. Actually, I've always thought about um what's going on, Jennings. Yeah, you should look at this Gibson right here. It's only got 9 minutes left. It's incredibly undervalued compared to the injured. I mean, we just looked at Cam Akers. We just looked at Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going for about a little bit more than the Cam Akers, and the Dobbins around this card, probably $40-$50. And where's Antonio Gibson? J.D. McKissick just went down with an injury at the end of that Monday night game. Antonio Gibson still had 100 yards. I think Antonio Gibson's stock is going to keep going up. The guy looks like a beast out there on the field. I think he's going to get better and better. He didn't really run the ball a whole lot in college, so he's still kind of, developing that vision as a downfield runner too.
I bought about 30 of his rookie cards before the season this year. And as the season started, I was like, damn, did I see this wrong? Did I evaluate this wrong? And, like you said, I think he's just starting to get acclimated to the offense and to the speed of the game. And now I'm looking back and I'm glad I got him because he's showing he's legit.
Mm-hmm. And he's really coming into his prime. Wow, man, dude, how unfortunate! One bid on the other on another one the same.
And the photo variation only went for $2 more.
Yeah, this is the same. That right there is the same card, just like a different angle. And then the photo variation. But this is the base set. You can see this is an optic.
Oh, right,
like
the
one we're watching right now is the optic. The base optic, which is on card, rookie ticket auto, and then it's a thicker card too as well. And this is the base contenders. It is a different photo, as you can see, but pretty much everything else is the same in terms of the numbers on it, the team logos, except it says contenders up here instead of optic, and different photo. And then you have this wild card.
You talked earlier about, what players' cards could go up if they make the playoffs. I mean, could you imagine Gibson if he's sitting around $20 for a rookie ticket auto? That's looking at a huge return.
Yeah, and
I think even
yeah.
if they don't make the playoffs, that's a hell of a buy.
That's a hell of a buy, even if they don't. Just in his dynasty value alone, I mean, he's such a young player, and we talked about Antonio Gibson didn't get a ton of carries in college, and so he's got a ton of miles left in the tank, a ton of juice left in the tank.
I like it.
What's up, Jason? Bills Mafia in the house. What's going on, man? We are, dude.
Jason.
Jonathan Taylor, rookie ticket autos going for between 150 to 200, and we're eyeballing this auction with 6 minutes left of Antonio Gibson going at $11.50, like licking our chops right now. So I think that's a great point, man. Take away from this is that I'm going to start setting my notifications to be hit me at 2 minutes, and then wait. How close to the ending of the auction do you put in your bid? Like, how close do you play it? Because there is like, you do have to
when
put
you
in the
see the
numbers.
one come up, when you see it turn to one, that's when I turn it in. Believe it or not, there are legal apps you can get that will auto bid for people. I don't use one personally, but if you leave someone enough time to react to your bid, they will. And the only time you'll lose an auction is either you didn't bid high enough, or the person has a second bid in. They're the high bidder and they have a second bid in, and that's higher than your current bid. Those are the only two ways you're going to lose at that point. If you give someone a chance to react to your bid, they will. And we live in a time where who doesn't have a cell phone, right? And if you get outbid on an auction, you get a notification on your phone. So the more notice you give someone that their chance of getting that card is not there anymore, the more likely are they to come back in and start a bidding war with you.
Wow, so you're literally waiting till it says 1 second?
Yep. I'm actually
So if I had this bid and I said I wanted to go up to, because I mean right now, I've been outbid at 1250, probably by Jennings over here. I'm trying to get Brian's trying to get that card. Now you guys go for it. I'm just kind of experimenting here out loud, theorizing here with my good friend Steve Scalabrini, because he got a tremendous amount of experience in this now, and obviously he's winning some of these auctions that he's telling me about before the show. He's winning extremely low, like he's guaranteed to make money on it. And he's quickly becoming a legend at his local post office for good reasons. So if I were to have an 1850, I would have to click this, but then I'd have to click something else to confirm, right?
Yeah. So what you want to do is, and actually, I would go 1851. Here's why: because the denominations are in 50-cent increments. Okay, so if someone tries to outbid you at 1850, you're going to win the auction, and I don't think you're going to flip out about a cent. All right. So when you hit place bid, you'll have a second notification thing pop up, and that's to confirm the bid, right? So don't click that yet, right? But that's where you want to kind of leave it. And if you have several auctions open at the same time, you can put your bid amount in, place the bid, and then just leave the confirm up, okay? And then wait for the time to get low, then confirm it when it's as low as possible,
So if I were literally to wait till that says 1S and like be watching it, and as soon as it turned to 1, I click confirm. Do you think that it would have enough time to go through?
Yeah. I mean, as soon as you see it flick from 2 to 1, click it. It is enough time. I have had issues where I'm talking like 1 in 1,000 chance where like I had like a small internet lag and it didn't make it through. So I mean, if you're more comfortable doing it at 2 seconds, you can. But believe it or not, it actually does come down to timing. There's someone on the other end of the keyboard sitting there with their finger on the trigger, just like you are. So
we got a couple guys, I think, out in the chat. They got their fingers on the trigger. No, I'm gonna watch it. I hope one of you guys win it at very low. I think that would be awesome. You can see that the other ones are going for around 20 to 25, which is still incredibly low. Like even these AJ Dillons, which I know that they're going up, and we're specifically looking at buy it nows right here. Solds. Oh no, these are all okay. So like this AJ Dillon orange number 3 out of 50 for 71.66. I mean, that's definitely gone up from before he started getting a bigger workload in Green Bay in the last couple weeks, but they're still low compared to Jonathan Taylor. You know, when we compare to what it could be at if you were to really truly break out, Green Bay's got a big market. This dude's also Dylan's deals. It's Dylan's deals, man. He's in the hobby,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
guy
No,
collects
I
one of
started
ones of
following him after
himself.
you put it out on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, look at just the value of Gary V's cards because he's in the hobby, and he's a celebrity, So, I mean, AJ Dillon's a professional athlete that has the ability to break out and play at a really high level, and he's also deep into the hobby, man.
And I think from just a running back skill perspective, I mean, I think it's not a mystery that he can plow people over, but the guy is
Yeah.
super athletic. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. I mean, those are the things you look for out of a running back.
Who else do we have from 2020 that would be worth looking up? Oh, Deandre Swift. Now, I know
Yeah,
he just went out, but he's been a baller this year. I think he's going to miss a couple weeks with what, like a groin?
yeah. I think they said it's going to be up to 4 weeks,
Oh,
but
shoulder could miss multiple weeks. DeAndre Swift could miss return quickly for his AC joints. I mean, the Lions are one team that are definitely not making the playoffs.
even what, it's going to be up to the coaches though, because he said he wants to play, and he did practice. So I think that's insane. But hey, you know what?
Well, let's look
Seems
at the value of DeAndre Swift rookie ticket autos. I mean, dude, they're going for like more than Antonio Gibson for whatever wild reason, and I mean, well, I guess around that maybe a little bit higher. They're definitely low, right? I mean, definitely low, but they're going for like it's wild to see guys like Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins selling for more than guys like Antonio Gibson. Um, these DeAndre Swift prices are pretty good, so
yeah,
they're
it's
definitely like they're at that tier like of Jonathan Taylor is at 150 to 200, and these guys are at that 30 to 50. What's really wild is that Antonio Gibson's like at 20, which is like a big giant red flag to buy.
yeah, and I think that's just because he came on so late. He hasn't been putting huge games up until the past couple of weeks.
Raven says he bids at 5 seconds. Look, the person won it for 24.25. It's still not bad.
I can tell you with 100% certainty that even bidding at 1 second, if you go to the screen you're on right now, there's
Mm-hmm.
occasionally times people bid after me. So I mean, I don't know if they're using an
Wow.
add-on or what, but it does happen.
Well, what if it so it's interesting, right? Because if nobody else is so say take let me find another one to give you an example because I think that this is something that I want to ask you about. Let's find a bid. All right, this one right here. So if I were to bid here $15 and there's nobody else in on this auction, right? I know it's got 5 bids, but if I was to place this bid now and nobody else had a bid in, it wouldn't move from 10, right? It would just stay at 10, right?
The current bid is 10, or there's no bids currently.
The current looks like the current bid is at 10 because it says 5 bids.
Okay, so it'll go up. It'll go up by $1, I believe.
I know this will probably go over and I want to experiment. So if I were to confirm,
Okay.
I'm the highest
So
bidder. Okay, so it
so
mandatory
if you
went up
look,
50 cents.
yeah, if you look under the X that out. If you go under the current price, it'll tell you enter a bid more than. That's for you. So what everyone else sees is that they have to bid at least 11. So up to a certain price threshold, it's 50-cent increments, and then at
Uh-huh.
a certain price threshold, it's $1, and then 250, and then 5. But now we're talking like $100, $200 cards at that point. So that's something to note, and that's why I said the 1 cent does make a difference. I mean, I'll even throw some weird numbers in there, like 23 or 17 or whatever. Throw some weird numbers in at the end because those few pennies are going to win you more auctions than they won't, because you get a lot of people betting round numbers.
So these guys have only bid up, these previous 5 bidders have only bid up to 10. I bid up to 15, so it went to 1050, but this still sent them a notification that says, hey, you're no longer the highest bidder. It sent that guy a message that said, hey, you're no longer the highest bidder, which is signaling him to go in and maybe raise his bid up. And then if he were to bid 15, it would go automatically to 1550, and it would tell him again, hey, you're no longer the highest bidder. And so
Right.
now we've
Instantly.
instantly raised it up to that before the end of the auction, which is kind of the whole thought around saving your bid to the very last second, right?
Yeah, and there's other ways around that. I mean, if it's a card you have to have, I mean, I still think waiting until the last second's the way to go. If the there's auctions that do just get slept on, and it's not because the card's bad or is in bad condition, but you could have 5 of the same card, and 4 of them go for $100, and one might go for 60, just because people weren't paying attention. So I mean, that's kind of you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're throwing too much money at it ahead of time.
Mm.
But
Well, man, that's
your final bid can be as high as you're willing to pay for the card, but because of the way that the bid structure works, it's only going to go up the amount it needs to go up for you to be the high bidder, right?
yeah, it's only going to go up for the amount that it takes to make you the high bidder, and it's not going to necessarily show the other bidder what you've gone up to unless they also put in a bid.
Like if you know the cards, let's say that an extreme situation, like the card has a retail of 200, it's at $50 with 10 seconds left, and you put in 101 with 1 second left. Like, you're leaving a huge gap where that person probably won't beat your bid, but it's enough of a gap that you'll probably still be the high bidder, and get the card not at a 101, but just whatever above the last bid, whatever his bid was.
Wow, man, that is awesome stuff, dude. Look how crazy low this James Robinson rookie ticket auto went for.
$3. What?
Yeah. Wow. Hey, crap, dude. One win for 99 cents. Only got one bid.
That's crazy. I will say this too, for you guys trying to get add on top of the strategy I just gave you. Sunday is the day to bid on cards. I know football's
Really?
on. But I have my computer screen, and to my left I have a TV, and I'm doing both at once. And I can tell you that there's enough people watching football, and now you have the holidays coming up. There will be auctions getting slept on, and that is going to be to your advantage.
Hey, what's up? Late stick in the house. What's going on, Corey? Yeah, we're just actually wrapping up this live stream, but I think that's an incredible nugget that you just dropped here. I saw it last week, man. I saw it last week in some of the purchases that I'll be sharing in the upcoming mail day. But I agree with you, man. I think a lot of people are very distracted right now. People that aren't as diehard as we are, right? And following it on a daily, weekly basis. And I think you can take advantage of this if you've got some spare capital, some spare bankroll to invest in cards. I think you can find some incredible prices. Some of the guys we talked about tonight. The funny thing is, Steve, as we've been doing this, my underdog draft for the underdog draft has been going. Like, look, it completed. I accidentally got auto drafted through the whole thing, so
Oh man.
it filled up. Let's look and see who I got on auto draft. So remember, the intent of this, guys, is to get players that you think are going to perform well for the duration, the entirety of the playoffs. This best ball tournament starts in the wild card round of the playoffs and goes all the way through to the Super Bowl. So it's 16 leagues, but it's a huge tournament of a bunch of leagues, and they eliminate leagues. So after the first round, you'll eliminate all five of these guys. They'll take the winner, and we'll move it on to the next round. Actually, I mean, so far this is not looking too bad.
I think your team actually looks pretty good, honestly.
They gave me Kelsey at the first pick. It's interesting that it's all skill position players in the first round. I'm assuming that these guys with their little shields means that they do this a lot, and they were probably present for their draft. So I got a true auto draft pick with guys that were actually competing. So I got Kelsey, Aaron Jones, and then this is a snake format as well. Darrell Henderson. It's also half point PPR. Amari Cooper. Wow, okay. Damian Harris. Matt Stafford's my QB. Michael Pittman. Zach
I love the
Ertz.
Ertz. I love the Ertz.
Yeah, man, the Zach Ertz. And actually with the way they have the flex, the wide receiver tight end spots, you can play two tight ends easily. You can actually play up to three tight ends technically, because there's a flex and then there's a wide receiver two wide receiver tight end spots. I like the Ertz as well in Arizona. Dalvin Cook. I know he's injured right now, but I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. I think it's just a minor couple weeks type of deal.
I think they. It sounds like they underplayed it, but I think he'll probably come back in a couple weeks.
Christian Kirk, and then Christian Kirk. So not bad. I'm looking at the high value QBs. Patrick Mahomes still, Kyler Murray still, Josh Allen, Tom Brady all the way in the fourth. Honestly, with my bias, though, I'd be going for the Tampa Bay stack. I don't know. It's a very interesting strategy to see. You can still see that Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, from a production standpoint, through the duration of the playoffs, are still kind of projected higher, but Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Dak, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar, all right there. Tannehill, yeah, Herbert. Interesting. All right, well, we're gonna keep doing these more of these every week, guys. So we'll be back next week doing this again. I hope you guys got a lot of I learned stuff from Steve tonight. We also played pick'ems. I'll share with you guys my picks for tomorrow night. So live, my pick'ems for tomorrow night. We did 2 sets of pick'ems. I did 4 picks. The first one, I took the over on CeeDee Lamb, or this was actually the second one I did. The first one I took the over on Tony Pollard, rushing and receiving yards. The under on Dak Prescott's passing yards is 280. The over on Michael Gallup's 46.5 receiving yards, and the under on Traquan Smith. And then for this one, I did the same over on Tony Pollard, combined yardage, and then the over on CeeDee Lamb, 62.5. So a little contrarian play to Michael Gallup's over. And then I also took the under on Marquez Callaway. It's a contrarian play to the Traquan Smith under, and then Ezekiel Elliott under as well, kind of parlaying that off the Tony Pollard over. So instead of taking the Dak under. So there you go, guys. Man, this has been a blast live stream tonight, Steve. I've learned a lot from you, man. I appreciate you coming on again, and I look forward
Glad to
to
be
doing
here,
this
man.
again next
My
week.
honor. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys, you can find Steve at Scaladesi on social media, on Instagram, and we're right here. I'm sure all you guys are subscribed to the channel, and if you're not and you're lurking out there, what the hell are you doing? Go smash that like button, hit the subscribe. We'll see you guys in that next one. Peace.
Nice.